come up with a big idea. And I always say you're one big idea away from your $1 million payday, right? Because your big idea, if you have a real big idea that can make people act and take action, then you can get away with this average copy. I don't like saying that because I don't want to give people an out, but a big idea can carry carry sales through. Now, a big idea can be anything. It can be your offer, and if you really want to get increased conversions, one of the best things you want to do is try and boost your offer, right? Now, I'm going to talk more about what you can do, but if you can make an offer irresistible and relevant to your audience, and they're a hungry audience, then you're going to get more sales. So the big idea can be the offer. The big idea can be around, the headline, which is I'll talk about next. But it could be how to find your clients and an affordable way to get in front of your desired market. It could be product or whatever. Anyway, the big idea is something I'm really renowned for. I remember one time I was interviewed by a client approached me and said, right, Brett, we've seen what you've been doing. We've got this idea where we feel we can make $500,000 in 4 weeks. If you all you got to do is just do this, that, write this letter and emails and stuff like that, and $500,000 in 4 weeks. I said, all right. So I checked it out, and I knew straight away I could come up with a better idea. So it was a bunch of corporate guys, and I said, listen, I can do that if you want, but I'd advise you doing something different. And one guy backed me, and instead of making them $500,000 in 4 weeks, I made them $1.6 million in 2 weeks, right? So triple their turnover in half the time. And that's mainly because understanding the psychology of the client, and also a better way to get your message across. I use video sales letters with long-form sales letters as well, and strategic emails. I'll give you that as an example of a big idea. Another quick example of a big idea, which is more into the third thing I got very good at, which was coming up with headlines. And I'm going to give you an example, right? Because headlines, like anything, the first thing I start with when I try to look at increasing conversions is changing the headline. The reason being is 80% of your success is in the headline, right? Because you could have the most irresistible offer, you could have an amazing guarantee, the most compelling copy written by myself or any other world-famous copywriter. But if your headline is weak, unemotive, and just lacks punch, then no one's going to read any of that, and you'll just instantly click off. See, it's estimated when people read a newspaper, they stay on a page for about 3 seconds per page. Now, what do you think they're doing in that 3 seconds? The answer is they're scanning headlines, right? Headlines and pictures, right? So with the internet, it's the same thing. If they're searching and looking for, if your headline doesn't grab them, they're going to click off, right? You've got a very short amount of time. So headlines, we put a lot of energy into the headlines, and that's where I take what I've learned from the researching phase and the big idea phase and try and put it in the most compelling headline. Now, can you do that? A couple of ways. There's you can look at other winning headlines and you can use them as a framework. So if there's an amazing headline about how to make money with Google AdWords, well, you can take out Google AdWords and you can put in Hangouts, or you can put in hairdressing or landscaping or whatever. You can use a framework of a headline. That's the bare basic, right? But the one thing you've got to be mindful of, a headline that worked, a couple of years ago, or maybe 10 years ago, even 2 years or 6 months ago, might not work in today's market, because markets change all the time. And most headlines are very big benefit, like big promises. But if you've got a very sophisticated market, when they've seen so many big promises like weight loss, and things like that, then you have to be a bit more creative, and you got to bring in different elements to it. So the best advice I can give you is this: have a brain dump of writing 100 headlines. And people think, gosh, 100 headlines, that seems like a lot of work. Look, I promise you, the payoff will be amazing for you. The reason being is because I'm sure you'll relate to this when you have the flow. When the flow happens and you just can't stop typing, or writing, because you've got all these ideas come. Sometimes when you look at a blank screen, you're waiting for the flow, but nothing happens, and it's really frustrating. You can wait for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and just beat yourself up. Look, here's the thing. Set yourself a task to write 100 headlines, and give yourself permission to write badly. It's okay for the first 10 to absolutely suck. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's just what it is to start in the motion. You want to try and make your headlines kind of more controversial and shocking and scary. You want a headline that actually scares you, right? Start off with the most outrageous headline, and then you can peel it back, right? A great example of one of the best stories I love about this is one of my mentors, the great Gary Halbert, and has read everything he's ever done. He's incredible, but he had a project to launch some perfume into the market, and he said like an average B-grade copywriter would have put a headline that said, you know, essence of the night, or something really lame that meant nothing, right? Because most people try to be creative, but with headlines, sometimes creative can kill conversions, right? It's got to be relevant and hard-hitting. So Gary came up with a headline, right? And get this, he took out a full newspaper in, I think it was the Wall Street Journal, and the headline was, wife of Hollywood star swears under oath her new perfume does not contain illegal sexual stimulants, right? And if you're reading that, you think, what the hell? And underneath the subhead said, and to prove it, she's given away 10,000 bottles for free at this hotel. Right, now that headline or that ad absolutely caused a traffic jam. It motivated 6,000 or 7,000 people to get off their couch, jump in the car, and drive down to this hotel for this launch. Right, it was one of the most successful perfume launches in history. And it's all because of the controversy and intrigue and the interesting factors of it. So when I write a headline, I try and have those elements. I say, what would Gary Halbert write? You know, and just try and be outrageous like that. But I'll also say, try not to make it too long. I mean, a headline can be as long as it needs to be, but I try and in those 100 headlines, you might have the same headline, but just try and word it in a bit differently. I'll try and make it as short as I can, but without diluting the emotional impact, because you have to have emotion. Most people lead with the big benefit, but ask yourself, what's the most dominant emotion your client is feeling right now? I'll give you a quick example. This happened to me yesterday, right? I work with a project manager every morning at 8 o'clock. We get on Skype and we talk about my list. And my list is like, it gets out of control all the time, and I struggle to get through it all the time. And I've got things on my list, whereas if I complete this task, I know I can send an invoice out for, say, $20,000. But I seem to just like, I should get to that, and I'll keep pushing it back. One time my project manager said to me as we were leaving on the call, she said, yeah, good luck, and I'll dare you to finish your list. And we laughed, and she hung up. And because she said she dared me, I stayed up till about 7 o'clock that night and finished it all. Now, you'd think a $20,000 would be a motivator for me, but I was more motivated by a challenge, right? Why? Because logic is one form, but an emotional motivator is always going to be more powerful. So think about that in your marketing. Always use emotion. People buy with emotion, and they justify with logic, okay? So now moving on, with that 100 list, the cool thing is it doesn't all go to waste. You'll find one that feels right for you. You don't know until you test. But you think, oh, you just have this gut feel, right? But the cool thing is all the other 100, all the other 99, you can use as subheads, pre-heads, or bullet points, or sub-headlines filtered all through the sales letter, or blog post ideas, video script ideas, whatever, or just chunks of. You can turn them into chunks of copy for your marketing material for emails. So it doesn't all go to waste. It's a good exercise to do. Okay, the next thing I got very good at was writing in a conversational tone. Now, what I mean by that is most people are institutionalized, right? Institutionalized being they feel compelled to use big words, right? And a lot of it's ego-based, and it's just ridiculous. The thing is, in your marketing, you want to write as your client speaks, right? As your client or as your market speaks. Okay, so and most people. The important thing is you want to keep them to read, because the more they read, the more they buy. And if you start putting the big words in there and trying to sound all educated and things like that, look, it's going to bore people, and they're going to stop reading and start skim reading. Once they start skim reading, you've lost it, right? You've lost it because you've just lost the flow of the salesmanship. So I always try and use simple words, and the thing to keep in mind is the comprehension rate of most Western adults is equivalent to a 13 or 14-year-old. Right, that's very important, because when I had my twin boys were about 12 or 13, and I'd finished writing the sales letter, I'd give it to them. I'd say, "Can you read it back to me?" Right? And these sales letters were were selling millions of dollars of product and things like that, and I'd get them to read it back to me. And if they stumbled, I'd say stop, and I'd draw a red little circle around it. I'd say keep reading, and I'd get them to go all the way through. When they finish it, I'd go back, and where they stumble, I'd dumb it down and make it simple. I'd use smaller words, smaller sentences. All right. So that's the lesson for you is I use short words, short sentences, and short paragraphs, because most people hate reading. So if they go to your website and the first thing that they see is this big chunky paragraph that's like 12 lines long, I promise you they won't read the first letter of the first word. Right? I start with a one sentence paragraph, and most of my sentences are one or two paragraphs are just 1 or 2 lines long, because it's more digestible and easier for them to start. And once you pull them in and hook them into a story, then that's really where the magic is. And in saying that, the best way to keep people reading is to tell a story. Now, I'll give you a quick little tip on how to write conversational, and that is sit down with someone you feel comfortable with, a friend, colleague, family member, whatever, and get your iPhone or computer and record the conversation and just sell them on your idea. Okay, just go for it. Just openly just pitch them and sell them on your idea and try and convince them of it, and invite them to ask objections and just see how you handle it. Now you get that recording sent off to a transcriber, and you get that transcribed, and you'll have 70% of your sales copy right there. All you've got to do is clean up. You take out the ums and the ahs, but you leave in the other parts, which we call connectors. Connectors are little throwaway lines, which all the institutionalized textbook writing style, they never have in there. But emotional direct response copywriters, that's the glue that makes people read. Little lines like, "Oh, by the way, I forgot to say one more thing, let me explain," or "You love this," or "Before I say that." All those kind of conversational little connectors, have them in there, and that can really, and it's always good to have them at the start of a paragraph, or maybe at the bottom, at the end of a paragraph, whatever. But it's very, very important, because it keeps people reading. The more they read, the more they buy. So also in that conversational style, I got very good at telling stories, right? Because stories are what people gravitate to, because we kind of grew up with them. With kids, we love watching a DVD or going to the movies. Going to the movies is like a visual Valium, right? You just sit there and you just get pulled into the story. The reason why stories work so well in your copy is because once you get people to start, they automatically want to see how it ends, right? And that kind of forces them to read. It also isolates them from the clutter. If you pull them into the story, they're not distracted. They just want to see how it ends. Okay, also they can see themselves. It's a great way of adding proof. And that's another element which I want to talk quickly about, is adding proof into your marketing, because most people don't, most people won't believe what you say, but they may believe what other people say. They'll believe you through testimonials, case studies, and stories, right? Also, and on another subject of proof, which I learned from Gary Benzavenga, the world's greatest copywriter, the best way to do it is through a visual demonstration. And just recently I saw an amazing video of Jean-Claude Van Damme standing on top of 2 Volvo trucks going in reverse, and his feet were on the side mirrors, and they slowly went apart, and he did this split, right? There was no copy there. It was just a visual demonstration to show the stability of the Volvo. Now that's a classic. You don't need great copy there. That is it, right? So anyway, that's why in the weight loss market you always see before and after demonstrations. Okay. So look, that's I know I'm throwing a lot at you guys. How's the tempo going? Are you happy with how it's all coming across?
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. I mean, so if you want to take a sip of water or anything, do it now, because you're just been going on and on. And I mean, so I know John's been writing down as we've been going on. So yeah, that's brilliant. Is there anything you want to say, John?
No, what a great summary, Brett. I mean, you've gone through so much great information I was going to ask you, these days, what do you find is doing well? Short copy, long copy, copy with video, any?
Yeah. Look, to be honest with you, I'm a big advocate that long copy works, but you don't know till you test, right? And so I'm not one of those. I'm not one of those guys who'll just say, "Oh, it has to be long copy" and things like that, because really the market decides, right? But I just know in the markets that I've tested in videos and sales copy, the more you tell, the more you sell. And the reason being, and here's my thinking of it, is because see, when someone's going to buy from you, they've got a bunch of objections that in their mind, right? And you have to tick off all these boxes in their mind before they actually pull out their credit card and type it in and buy from you online. And you've also got a bunch of hot buttons that you've got to tick, right? Now, if you don't tick, if you leave one unanswered objection, then they're not going to buy from you. Simple as that, right? So I always, and this is a writer downer, that is, one objection missed is a sale missed. Okay, one objection missed is a sale missed. So people say, Brett, how long does the copy have to be? It has to be long enough so you cover all the objections and hit all the hot buttons, because people buy for different reasons as well. So if you and I always try and make it as short as I can, but as long as I cover all the objections and all the hot buttons. Okay. Now, and also have plenty of proof in there. So if I'm going to make a statement, okay, understand this: when statements are made, they can be challenged, right? But if stories are believed, but if you're going to make a statement, always immediately afterward put some proof just to balance it out. So there's a lot of things in there. So sometimes long copy might not to be 8, 10, 12, 20. I've just not too long ago wrote a sales letter that was 36 pages long. Was selling a $4,000 product, right? Because I had to cover a lot of stuff. Now you might think, who's going to read that? Most people think no one's going to read all that, and then you're right. Most people won't. But I will say this, and that is, most people, the buyers will read as much as they need for them to act. Okay, and that's really important. Your buyers will need to read as much as they can before they actually take action. So if you pull up short because you're worried about the length, then you're missing sales. All right, does that answer the question?
Yes, it definitely answers the question. We've got a little lag between us, so you stop and I can still hear you talking.
Yeah, no worries. What I'll do, if I'll just have to quickly turn the air conditioner on. Sorry about that. Is that okay? It's just a bit hot in Australia down here. Right,
yeah, it's fine.
Christmas? It's fine. It'll take like 10 seconds. 1 sec.
Okay, sure.
I must admit, I thought there was something going on there, because I just flicked off to check other pages. And of course, when I come back, there was Brett doing drinking water, and I can still hear him talking. And I'm thinking, what's going on here? But yeah,
every once in a while.
Yeah, big lag. It might catch up a bit later, but that's still not a problem. I'm just overwhelmed with the amount of information we're getting here, and we haven't even touched the software yet. You know, just this information alone is worth listening to. And at no cost, what more do you want?
Exactly.
No, that's nice to say. Appreciate it, guys. Yeah, look, I could talk. You know, I'm just trying to give you the best in a short amount of time. But look, to really get this, I could talk for.
Uh-oh.
Oh no!
We lost Brett.
No, hopefully he'll jump back in. But come on, guys. Where else can you get information like this so free and whatever? I mean, say, just listening to him, I know about you, John, but I've learned so much of, you know, just staying here and listening. And so it sounds like the headline being using the emotion to actually capture people, where before, you know, it wasn't like that. You know, you'll just talk different. So just that little bit of information was great. Nice to see you back, Brett.
Yeah, it was excellent.
Yeah, not sure what happened there. Yeah. Yeah, cool. I appreciate that. All right, well, do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, you keep on going, because, you know, if nobody else wants to hear it, I think myself and John would.
I'm learning a ton, Brett.
Yeah, you carry on. We got plenty of time.
You can say anything you like.
No. Yeah, cool. Well, look, I think last thing I left off was I talked about conversational copy. I talked about the importance of writing stories, and this is a good and also proof. I want to tell you an example of the importance of telling good stories. And most of the copywriting clan, we know this story. It's just so powerful, and that is Claude Hopkins, who's the author of Scientific Advertising. He was approached by a beer company to help them with their marketing. And like any good copywriter, the first thing you do is you do your researching. So he walked into this beer company, and this beer company was running about, wasn't doing really well compared to all the competitors. So they took him through the manufacturing plant, right? Now, and he was amazed that, in this manufacturing plant, that the way they made beer, right? Because, they were on Lake Michigan. They could have easily just filtered the water from the lake, but no, they actually drilled 4,000 feet deep into a freshwater reservoir and used the water from there. And to purify everything, they went through a floor-to-ceiling vat full of white timber pulp just to purify the beer. And it went through these sterilizing chambers that were protected by double-sided 4-inch thick glass, right? Then it went through these chilling chambers where the beer ran through these over these pipes, and the bottles were machine cleaned 3 times before the beer went into it, and the machinery was cleaned twice per day, and then the beer was put into bottles and stored for 6 months before it went to market. So, and he was amazed, and Claude said, look, to the owner, said, have you ever told this story, in your marketing? And the guy said, well, no, why would we? This is how everyone does it. And Claude was smart enough to tell that story in his advertising, and that company, beer company, went straight to #1 and stayed there for 10 years. Right? And the lesson is that I teach people is, what are you taking for granted? Okay, what is people in your industry? All the terms and all the processes of things, but what are you taking for granted? Because the end user doesn't know that stuff. So if you could meet the market with a new and exciting way of explaining something that might be common knowledge for you as the business owner, then you've got a real advantage, right? So telling a story is powerful. You can tell a story for how a process of how things are made. Your story, your origin story, which you heard my origin story. You can tell a story of a client which is using your product or a new ingredient or whatever, but always try and use stories in your marketing. Is very, very powerful. Another thing I got very good at was design and layout. Now, keep in mind, I'm no graphic artist at all, but I understood that, look, when people go to a website, if it looks ugly, before they read, the first letter of the first word, they'll decide there's something wrong with it. It's called instant sales friction, and you probably know it. They just think something is wrong with that page. Now, and I'm very aware of that, and I think since Apple came on board, they've really lifted the bar with excellence and what a nice design kind of page should look like. In old school copywriting, it used to be common knowledge that you could make mistakes, even spelling mistakes, and you'd increase conversions. But I think these days that's definitely changed, especially online. There's a bit of an expectation to make it look more professional because it doesn't have, look, again, you can go overboard. You can get graphic artists who are so obsessed with making things look pretty, but they lose conversions because there's no emotional copy in there. So it is a blend, but I make sure that the key factors I look for is if you have text, like columns of text in there, I make sure there's a big healthy space on both sides. Both margins are big and healthy. Nothing more ugly than reading text that goes right to the end one side and goes all the way to the end the other side. It just irritates me and other people. So have big healthy chunky columns, just like a newspaper. Newspaper doesn't you don't read a newspaper all the way along. They're in nice columns, right? So also use pictures with emotion. Okay, so again, getting back to the newspaper example, or even any example, if someone looks at a picture, what's the first thing they do where their eyes go to as soon as they look at a picture? And the answer is they look down and read the caption. Right? Now that's a valuable piece of real estate for emotional copywriting. So you don't want to waste that caption with something that says Fig 1, right? You want to use one of your 100 headlines, and you want to put it in there, and so it's going to kind of jump off the page, pull them in, and motivate them to read more. Okay, and also use use pictures that show emotion if you can. I spend a lot of money buying images and placing them, and just things like that. It's very important. So that's one thing. Also with design is just again, this is more of a layout thing. Short words, short sentences, short paragraphs again, because that's very important. And really, the other thing I got very good at was writing video scripts. Okay, using all the principles that I just shared with you guys, and putting them into video. Because when I jump on stage and I could be in front of hundreds of people, I'll say, quick test everyone. Who in the room, if they wanted to looking at buying something, they'd prefer to sit through and watch like a 15-minute video, or who'd prefer to actually scroll down and read? And surprisingly, it's always about 50-50, right? So for me, I always have a video at the top with a sales letter underneath, usually for some markets. Some markets lead with the video sales letter, and if you try and click off, a pop-up goes to the long-form sales letter, and vice versa. So the point is, there is no right answer. You have to let your market decide, okay? Again, if I've got friends who are advocate of video sales.
Oh, we dropped off at the crucial part again. But there we are. There was just one question you asked, and look how long it's taken Brett to answer. He's really broken it down and stretched it out to get all the information in. Absolutely brilliant again. Nice to see you back, Brett.
Yeah, cool. Hey, when it dropped out, can you still hear me, or is the whole thing dropped out?
No, you drop out completely. And the audio stops as well as your video, so you're back again. But
we
okay.
we fill in because we know this happens sometimes, especially with the distance. Australia. It's not like you're right next door to us, so usually we have a little more lag and a little more challenges with people, way far away. So it does happen from time to time. But hey, let me ask you. You've talked like a ton about copywriting. What gave you guys the idea for Copysniper and putting all this together? Because what you said so far is just brilliant. I mean, I love everything you said about copy. You've given me kind of a whole new level of insight on it. So
awesome, appreciate it. Here's how the Copysniper story started, and that is when I was working with Mal Emery, who's one of the biggest marketers in Australia. He approached me and said, Brett, I've got this fantastic idea. And I said, what's that? And he said, I want to do a tour all around Australia to the 6 different states, and we're going to put a seminar on, and we're going to pull someone from the crowd, invite them up on stage. He said, you and I are going to ask them everything about their business, and then you can go and lock yourself in a hotel room for 24 hours and write 12 months of their marketing in 24 hours and present it the next day. I thought, so where's the good part of that? Anyway, so I've got this philosophy that's say yes and clean up the mess later. So anyway, so we did it. The first city was in Brisbane. This lady was doing it for dog grooming, and I found out all about their business, and I wrote overnight I wrote a long form sales letter, landing page, video script, 7 autoresponders, advertorial, editorial, a newspaper ad. I just went nuts, right? I kept myself awake with Red Bulls and junk food. I don't recommend it, right? It wrecked me, but I did it, right? And she used it and it worked. So we did this to every single state around Australia, and the thing is, 5 years later, some of those campaigns are still running successfully right now. So what I learned to do is develop a system where I could write effective sales copy in a short amount of time if you had to. And I ran seminars in Australia called the 7-hour sales letter. So you could walk in there with a blank screen, and over 2 days I do a little bit of teaching, then give you time to write, and we workshop it back and forth. I said, Laura, let's write the headline, let's write the offer, let's write the intro, bullet points, and we workshop it. And after 2 days, everyone comes out with a long-form sales letter written under my guidance, and it's been hugely successful. It's a sellout event every single year, and we tacked on a third day where we do the same thing for a video sales letter, right? It's been selling. I sell that course for $1,000, and it sells very successfully. Has for years. The thing is, I had this idea. I wondered if you could actually systematize and make it into software, but the technology wasn't really there to do it. It's kind of like, you know, the Avatar movie, where they had the idea, but the technology wasn't there to make it happen. And I was kind of waiting and looking for the right people. Anyway, probably about 18 months ago, or maybe longer, I met Leon from Fusion HQ and became really good mates, and I told him about my idea back and forth, and he had similar ideas as well, and connections with the software people, so we actually made it happen. So Copysniper was born in a way that all my sales copy that I've written for my clients over the last nearly a decade now has turned over about $220 million of sales. So I took all the chunks of that copy and put it into the right the formula, because the thing that makes a successful sales letter, same with a successful sales pitch face-to-face, is your structure, right? You can't just start off with a big offer, and you got to build rapport and all that. So there's definitely a structure that you need to follow to get people to cross the line and do business with you. So I used all my chunks of copy and put it into a software. So so all a customer has to do is simply go into the software. They answer a few questions about their client's problems and their emotions and what benefits and what they want to achieve out of it, and they click a button, and it gets married up with all my copy and into the right order, and instantly punches out a long-form sales letter. The cool thing is that separates this from any other software out there in the world, and I have checked, is that you can edit it and you can choose from dozens and dozens of different headlines that's already pre-made for you, specific to your niche, right? You could be, and I'll do a demonstration, but it's mind-blowing. I'm uploading all my copy, so it's the closest anyone can get to me writing copy for you. Now again, to get me to write copy for you personally, the starting point is $25K, and it goes up from there. I don't say that to brag. There's some copywriters that charge more than that, right? But not everyone can really afford that. So this is the closest you get to my copy, writing copy for you, and it's perfectly formatted in the right order, and all the graphics are done. It's all laid out, and you can instantly upload it to WordPress or Fusion HQ straight from the software. So it's absolutely mind-blowing, and we've turned in a lot of heads. A lot of people are just blown away from it. It's not like a cheap product, but it's more of an investment that'll pay big bucks. I've got copywriters who are using it to punch out, selling $2,000 letters and just making their money back multiple times over in a short amount of time. Is that a good enough summary just before I go to the demo?
Well, it certainly is. I mean, say, you now told us where the idea come from, the difference between the different softwares that are already out there, and yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, thanks. Well, unless you got anything else to ask, I can go into a live demonstration, and show you working, warts and all this. Do you want to just go for it?
Yeah, sounds awesome.
All right, here we go. Well, what I'll do is quickly share my screen. I'm going to need your participation on this one, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
1 second. Can you confirm you can see my screen okay?
Yes.
We can.
All right, awesome. All right, so what I'm going to do, this is where the orientation of Copysniper is. Now we're going to go up here and click Create Edit Sales Page. Okay. Now in Create Edit Sales Page is basically a bunch of sales letters I've already done for demonstration, and I'm going to click on New Page up here. Now, I need your guys' participation. I want you to think of your either your own business or a client, and we're going to use this to build a sales letter on the spot live right now. So, have you got an idea of what you want to what the sales letter is going to be about?
How about if we do it actually on Hangouts, John? How's that?
I think that'd be fantastic, because we have a Hangouts product coming out, Brad.
Awesome, beautiful. All right. So, all right, well, let's go. So it says, this is how simple it is. Which type of page do you want to build, sales or squeeze? We'll go with the sales page. Will your page include video? We'll say yes, and this drops down. You can put in your YouTube link or a link for your video files. Okay. So here's one already in the memory. And here's a cool part that you don't see this on any other software, and that is which category best describes your product or niche. So we've got making money, business service, health, fitness, weight loss, or personal development, and we're going to be adding more, right? So would it be fair to say your guys would be the making money?
Probably.
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, using it.
Cool. Now, the next part is very simple. You can choose from a number of designers. Again, we're going to be adding more, and it doesn't matter. You can change it at the end as well. So we'll click a design. We'll go to next step. Now, this is the important part where you actually put in the emotions that your client is thinking. Very, very important, and this is what most people really don't understand the importance of it. So, what 5 dominant emotions does your ideal prospect currently feel?
Frustrated.
Right? So, would they feel
frustrated for sure? I'd say confused.
I was going to say that as well.
Overwhelmed.
Yep. Just
overwhelmed.
Blue box, John.
Yeah, I have in blue box.
Yep. Any more? Helpless, desperate, like giving up.
Helpless probably would be another one.
I think self-conscious would be a good one because people are very self-conscious.
Self-conscious?
Yeah.
Scared, terrified, sad, ugly, useless, poor, insecure, worried.
Scared, yeah.
Okay, where was that one? Scared. And there's also old, unhealthy, unwanted, unlovable, worthless. So, and you can add your own too, right? So now what you do here, you can put them in order of priority, all right? So we've got 6 there, which is fine. You can do less, but do 5 is enough. So what would be the number 1? Out of all those?
Confused.
Yeah, I would say confused.
So we just drag it up to the top,
yep.
And you just put them in any order. So frustrated, overwhelmed, helpless, self-conscious. Are you happy with that order for now? Or?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good order. What do you think, Ted?
Cool.
Yeah, all I change would be probably put overwhelmed for 2 and then leave as is.
Yeah, and then you could probably leave it as is.
Cool, no worries. The next part is what 5 dominant emotions would your ideal prospect hope to feel? So once they've done business with you. So we've got happy, thrilled, proud, excited. You just shout out.
I think they'd be excited and motivated for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say motivated, so those 2 definitely.
Yep. Enthusiastic.
I think confidence is big for what we're trying to promote.
Yeah.
There's also successful, wealthy over here. There's
successful probably would be another one.
Yeah.
Yep. And one more. We got positive, love, smart. Happy with that?
Positive, John?
Yeah, positive is good.
You can just press, if you want to take it out, you just press delete, and you can
pull it out.
Add it back in. Yeah. Worthy, handsome, healthy, vibrant, fantastic. You recognise positive, so there's positive. You want to put positive back in?
Sure.
Yeah. Please.
Okay. Now let's quickly do the shuffle the order. What's number 1? 1, 2, and 3?
Probably excited, I would say, would be number
excited.
1. And then confident is probably number 2, I think.
Yeah.
And then I think they could probably stay the same.
Rightio.
Yeah.
Cool. And again, you can add your own here, and it just simply adds it to that pile there, and you can just take any out you want. All right, we're getting through the next step. So far, so good.
Okay.
What specific problems are your prospects currently filled? And this is where you really want to find out what kind of frustrations and problems they're having right now, because if you can, and here's an important thing, if you can describe somebody's problem better than they can, they automatically think you have the solution.
Mm-hmm.
So this is really important. So we'll say not making enough money.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Struggling to clear debt.
I think everybody's trying to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Missing out on things, watching others succeed. That's a good emotional one.
Yeah.
Not providing for your family. You guys just tell me.
I think missing out on things is a big one for this.
Yeah.
Yep. Missing out on things. Never reaching your goals. Lacking this. Never knowing who to trust. Working too hard. Retiring with little money, having limited choices, letting your loved ones down, and then it goes into some health
letting
ones.
your loved ones down?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good one.
All right, quick shuffle for the order. Tell me what's 1, 2, 3.
I think missing out on things is probably like number one for me. Would you agree with that, Ted?
Yeah.
Next one.
Leave as is.
Yeah, I think I'd move watching others succeed up a little bit, maybe on the notch.
Yeah.
Up a couple, maybe.
Right. Okay. No worries.
Okay.
And so you'll know the answers when you interview people and talk to your clients. What their biggest frustration is. What kind of conversations are they having right now? What's their daily frustrations? And that's what you want to try and hit.
Mm-hmm.
The next one is what specific benefits will your customers look forward to? And we're nearly finished. You see, this is step 3. We've only got one more step to go. So what specific benefits will your customer look forward to?
I think making passive income is going to be a big one.
Making passive income?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Anything else?
Well, I think it's going to be a multiplying effect, multiplying your income.
Multiplying your income, yeah. Leaving a legacy, having more choices, more life choices, having no money problems.
Having more life choices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Having no money problems is always a good one.
Yeah.
Supporting your family, making money while you sleep, building a property portfolio, making your first million.
Actually, making money while you sleep fits in good here.
Okay, cool. Now, a quick shuffle of order.
I'd say let's make making money while you sleep number 2.
Rightio.
And then I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah,
sweet.
I'll go with that.
All right. Next step, final step. Enter your full name. So whose name are we using here?
Both of us, John and Ted.
Okay, cool.
So that's okay.
John and Ted. All right, this is only a demo, so that's okay. What is the name of your product?
Hangouts made easy.
Okay. And Ted, you know how much of a good speller I am, so you just tell me if I make a mistake here. Okay, here's a cool. All right, so it says, what is the big promise you're offering customers? Now the examples here are lose weight, learn guitar, master copywriting, grow tomatoes, make money. Understand it's not losing or learning or mastering or growing, because the grammar will be a bit skewed if you do that. So what is the big promise you're offering customers? And you can say make money while you sleep if you want, or I don't know, master.
We're helping them master Google Hangouts and Google Plus. I mean, that's what.
Okay, so master Google Hangouts.
How about mastering Google Hangouts?
No, that's gonna that's gonna stuff up the grammar.
No, that's fine.
Yep.
So just look at the examples down here for the correct way to search. So next thing, how quickly can your customer achieve this? 30 days, 24 hours, instantly, 5 minutes, 3 months.
30 days?
Yeah.
Reality?
Obviously how quick they learn, but if we put 30 days.
30 days, cool. How many steps or tips will it take them to achieve it? Like 7 proven ways or steps or tips or secrets, tricks, lessons? I mean, just for example, we can just use one for example, but you want to say five simple steps or something like that?
Let's say about 12 simple steps.
Yeah, I think we could get through with like 10 or 12 simple steps.
Yeah.
Okay, no worries. Okay, so what specific results can the customer expect from your product? Now, this is a bit different up here. You said what the big promise is to master Google Hangouts. So once they've mastered it, what's the big promise? What can they expect? And this is where you want to really think about what are they really desiring the most? Is it money, like make 12,000? Like is it earn 6 figures or retire early or make money? That kind of thing, you know what I mean? This is where you really want to be specific. But again, this is only a demo, so it doesn't really matter right now. But
I was gonna say when they get done, they're certainly going to be able to create content and products very easily.
So, okay. So what's the benefit of creating product and content?
Well, it's going to
well,
drive their income up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, so can they? Right. So how about we say make. Well, here's to make your first 10,000 online, make it quick, 33% profit, or you can even say double your income. Whatever.
I would say it's going to double a lot of people's income at least. So.
Okay. Yeah, and it's not too much of a double your income.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to press generate. Now this is the cool part. All those answers you guys have just given me is about to be magically mashed up with all my copywriting that I've written that's turned over $220 million in the right order. It's going to give you dozens of different headlines, bullet points, and everything to choose from. So we don't know what the first draft is going to look like, but we're about to find out. Here we go.
Wow.
Okay, so here we go. Can you see the screen okay?
I can.
Yes.
So headline, the shocking truth about how to master Google Hangouts. Be amazed, just like our hundreds of other excited customers who are now making passive income thanks to this simple 12-step solution. It's so simple it's embarrassing. You'll see once you follow this proven 12-step simple to master Google Hangouts, you'll be amazed at how fast you can start making passive income, multiplying your income, and even make money while you sleep. So far, so good?
I like it so far.
Yeah, I was going to say, does that look good or what, John?
Yeah, it looks great. I love the way it formats it out too, Brad. Looks amazing.
You've got bullet points, the letter, there's a story in there, the subheadlines.
Yeah, it looks like you just throw it on a page and it's ready to roll.
Absolutely. Now, here's the thing. If you don't like that headline, you click here and you can choose from nearly 100 different headlines, right?
Wow.
So you scroll down, find something, what everybody ought to know about how to master Google Hangouts, or whatever. You can choose. Doesn't really matter.
I actually like that one.
Did you? Okay. Yeah. Anyway.
There's something about it. It just resonates with me.
Yeah. Look, and again, from a design point of view, I don't like how the third line drops down to one word. So all you do, just like a Word doc, you highlight it. So let me just try that again.
Okay.
Highlight it. You can change the size, and boom, fits in a lot better, doesn't it?
Simple.
Wow.
And you can actually change the. It is very simple. You can change the font, right, to impact.
Yeah.
Boom, another big attention-grabbing headline. If you don't like the pre-head, you can change a different pre-head. At last, absolutely everything you need to know to master Google Hangouts in one easy place. Right? You can add more copy, put a couple of dots there. You can just go in there and add whatever you want. It's very simple. Same with this. If you don't like the subhead, you can choose from dozens and dozens of different subheadlines, and you can change the color, the font, whatever. Pretty awesome, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not pretty awesome. It is awesome.
It's stunning. I mean, most copywriters we take 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks to write a long form sales letter. You've just seen how you can do it in 7 minutes or less. This is where you can upload your banner if you want a banner, or you can just take it out and you just don't have a banner. It's up to you. The videos will be uploaded ready to go. You can get testimonial boxes here.
Yeah.
You just like a Word doc. You can delete that. You can type in your own testimonials. You can click on here and you can upload a picture. So I'll just go here. Image. Add a picture. Wait for it to load, which shouldn't take too long. Click in. Press OK, and you got a picture in there. And you can resize that. Very simple. Now, bullet points. Most people struggle with bullet points, right? So here's using your answers. We've got little-known secret to master Google Hangouts that most experts keep hush. Why 95% of people who feel excited about making passive income will fail, and how you can avoid this. What never to tell yourself if you want to start multiplying your income. 12 simple steps to master Google Hangouts in less than 30 days, and so on and so forth. If you don't like those bullet points, no problems. Go in here and click on another bank of bullet points, and you just change them. You can go in there and change that so it's not a capital Very, very simple, guys. It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
So you can either change the lot, or you can just change one line.
Yeah, you can go in there and add in more.
Wow.
Look, again, if you just want to add another one, it instantly creates a new bullet point for you, and you can just type in specifics, because that's something you guys will need. You might be offering specific things, and you just
Sure.
simple as that. Now here's the introduction from John and Ted. Subject: How to master Google Hangouts in 30 days and double your income. And the opening is: Are you absolutely determined to be wealthy and free? Then you have reached the right place to start your journey. Blah blah blah. If you don't like that introduction, you can choose a new one. There's dozens. Okay, here's a bit of a longer one. Let's cut to the chase. You're sick of not making money and struggling to clear debt, even watching others succeed, right? You'd like to be making passive income and multiplying your income, correct? Thought so. You don't have to feel frustrated or confused anymore. It's pretty cool, hey?
It's incredibly cool.
Yeah, and here's the story. So if you don't like that story, you can choose a different one. And there's a story all done in there, highlighting your frustrations and things like that. You can go in there and edit. You can change the color if you want to change it to, like anything else. If you don't like that big gap, you think that looks a bit ugly, just click once, click on this image, and again you can add an image in there, whatever image you want. Cool, hey?
Very nice.
Yeah. Here's your name of it. Obviously that looks a bit weird because it's look, I can go on and on. It's just look, it's really cool. You can put little effects on that, so it puts it in a grey little box behind and change the colour of it, whatever you want. Again, more bullet points for you to change, more testimonial boxes. Here's where you add your bonuses. If you want a different way to structure your bonuses, you can click this one here and you can add bonuses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and add images in there, and so on and so forth. You've got and there's all this one here is how you justify the price. This chunk here is where a call to action, your first call to action, and there's multiple choices there. Your second call to action, this is where you close, and this is the PSs and so on and so forth. Now, I know your jaws are probably dropped right now because it is pretty stunning. I want to show you a couple of other cool things, and this is what I absolutely love. If you want to really add punch to your copy, and if you want to add copy yourself and like to your bullet points and make it sound really cool, and you might want to a new word for let me see, what's a new word for? We can go up here. We need a new word for easy, right? If you want to use a different word for easy, then can you hop away, buddy? Sorry, guys. This is the copy, and this is a chunk where you can get my what I call punch words. So you can look down here and it says hard, easy. So different words for easy: simple, no-brainer, join the dots, candy to a baby, shooting fish in a barrel, easy to follow. Even a 9-year-old could. All that kind of stuff. Pretty awesome, hey.
That is your thought about the different ways of doing it, and not just say, well, you can change it. You give words that can be put in there.
Absolutely, and then I'm adding more stuff all the time. Different words for fast. A lot of people can't use words like put money in emails because it'll stop the spam folders. So there's different ways you can actually put use money. And you can just use random punch words just to add really like a visual effect, like explode, staggering, blitz, bullseye, all those kind of things, and even punch phrases like shake a stick out, sobering message, roll your sleeves up. Look, it's just awesome. I'm very proud of it, and we're uploading more stuff all the time. If you don't like the background, no worries. Just click on this one here, choose a new background, and it's going to put a new style in it as well. There you go, a new different looking boxes and colours and things like that. So, I mean, again, I just want to highlight the fact that to pay a copywriter, at the low end, you'd probably pay a copywriter, a couple of $1,000 up till about 25, 30K or more for some other copywriters, and anywhere in between. Whereas, and the key thing is here, then you've got to get it formatted and put up online and everything like that. The cool thing is you can export this straight to WordPress. You can save the files and send to your webmaster, and they can put it on any page you want. And it's really a brain dead easy thing. So, any questions from your end?
Speechless, Brett.
Well, I think I've summed it up with as we're going along. I mean, this is the best bit of software I have seen for copywriting, like that. I mean, so is this? Do you host it, and do people just come in to get it, or what?
That's a good point. I'm glad you said that. Sorry, I've just got to stop screen share. I apologise.
Okay.
Can you guys see me?
I could a second ago.
Just press
one more time and you'll come back.
Okay. 1 second.
Okay,
we're on.
I think you're coming back. There you are.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. I need a product called Webinar, Google Hangout Made Easy, I think.
I know where you can get one.
Mate, yeah. Well, it's compelling copy, I must say. Now, I will say that the cool thing, it is web-based, right? So you can, as long as you've got an internet connection, you can go into it and you can change things. I should just share one more thing with you very quickly, and I'm sorry to kind of hover from screen to screen, but can you see the page again?
I think we will in a second. There we go. Yes, we can.
Well, I'm getting good at this. So, so there's the page. You click this. The pages here. It takes you back to your pages. You've got Hangouts Made Easy here. You can click to edit. You can copy and change the headline to do some instant split testing. You can renew all the suggestions and just look at a fresh batch and see what that has, or you can delete it. So you've got that permanently there. It is web-based. You can go in there and do it as many times as you want. So, and the cool thing is, I'll just, okay, I'm back on. Yep. The cool thing is, you can use it wherever you want, and I'm uploading more copy all the time. It's the closest thing you can get. Instead of waiting 4, 5, 6 weeks to get your product online and making money, that's 4, 5, 6 weeks of lost income, right? Also, you'll pay, and I must say, no software will ever replace a copywriter. It's still my industry. I love it, and I teach copywriters. But to give the general folk a bit of a good chance to get some high converting stuff up there online and sell products faster, then there's nothing else better out there, really. Because when you think about it, and I learned this with Dan Kennedy, money is attracted to speed. Right? Money is attracted to speed. So the fastest you can get your sales that are up there, the fastest you can sell your product, the better it is. Don't wait for perfection. Get it up there and tweak it as tweak it later on. But at least you can start making some sales and things like that. So that makes sense?
Absolutely, and it's very impressive to see how quickly you put that together. And it reads great. I mean, it reads really, really well.
Well, just keep in mind, it wasn't me that did it. You guys put it together, really, didn't you? It was your answers.
Well, I certainly like the format. It was easy reading. Everything was thought out, so you had the videos in the right places. You had the breaks in the right places. So that was kind on your eyes. You just automatically read down because that was what the draw was as you were going down. It just kept drawing you further and further and further down.
And I wanted to pull out my wallet, so that's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, I can talk about that. I mean, there's a lot of people who are watching this thing. How can we get our hands on that? And it's a smart thing to do. And I want you guys, whoever's watching this, to think of this as a business tool, okay, and an investment. I know I speak on stages with a lot of sharp internet savvy business owners and who do some high-end coaching, and they tell their clients they don't recommend that they get this, they expect that they get it, because really money is attracted to speed, and really the biggest asset you have in the internet marketing world is time, right? Because most people are so busy and things like that, and you're worried about making money, but whatever tool you can get that's going to save you time, that is worth a lot to you, and you guys know that, right? Absolutely. So again, this is not like a cheap product, but I think from an investment point of view and return on money, it's laughably affordable. Like I'm surrounded by some of the biggest marketers in Australia and the world, and they said you should be selling this for about around the $3,000 mark, because it's the closest people get to you writing a letter for them. I said, yeah, fair enough, but look, I remember what it's like just starting out, and I remember for years, just seemed to be putting money elsewhere, and it's really hard to, get traction. So I've kept it down to, instead of $3,000, I've brought it down to $997, and there's even options to buy it with 3 monthly payments just to get people started. Now, $997 is affordable. I'll tell you why and how fast you can make your money back. Because number one, so many people out there are screaming for good sales letters right now. My God, you just go to ClickBank and say, hey, you can do it like that. Even if you sell a sales letter for $1,000, you make your money back in an instant. It'll take you maybe less than a day if you want to clean it up and get it up online for them, right? But you should be able to sell a good sales letter with that quality for $2,000. But if you say, oh, I'll write some emails for you as well, you can expand that out to a $3,000 or $4,000 client. You can do that over and over and over again. That's one way you can make money, and I've got copywriters making that. Another way you can make money from it and get your money back real quickly is get your product up there online super quick. Instead of waiting or paying a copywriter $2,000 to do it and waiting 3 or 4 weeks, you could make 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 grand, and then you can get a good copywriter to critique it, right? Use some of your profit and get them to run their eyes over and just tweak it and things like that. Right? Another cool way you get your money back really quickly is you save money on expensive traffic, right? So many people throw money into traffic and to a page that's not converting very well, and it becomes very expensive. But if you can increase your conversions from 1% to 2%, right, all of a sudden you've just chopped your traffic costs in half, right, and over and over and over again. So look, it's hugely valuable. The cool thing is you buy it once and you have it for life. It's not one of those things where we're going to sneak in any ongoing monthly things. We might do that later for a new launch, but if you grab it now through you guys, you buy it once, you own it once, you got it for life, right? So it's a really good incentive. At the moment, if you tried to do a search for Copysniper and buy it, you can't, because at the time of this recording, it's closed to the market. We take on a bunch of people and we just focus on customer service, and instead of just getting out of control. So at the moment it is closed. We did a special thing for you guys. We opened a page just for you, and because of that relationship. So I really encourage you, if someone wants to buy it, is to buy it off you guys right now, because it's you're going to get all the great service from us, and there's no other way to get it right now.
And
that makes sense.
It is fantastic.
And if anybody wants to check, all they've got to do is to put the copysniper.com in the URL, and they'll come to a page where it says, I'm sorry, but it's shut at the moment, and if you'd like to leave your email address, we will inform you when it's open.
And I'm sharing right now where they can pick it up. So if you enjoyed Brett's demonstration today of Copysniper, this is where you can pick up your copy.
Brett, can I tell them the story of how we met?
Sure.
Yeah, go for it, mate. Go for it.
I like embarrassing people.
Oh no, yeah, I'm never embarrassed, but I love the story.
When Copysniper came out, the doors were opened again. I saw it, and because we were interested in it, I went and had a look at it. And the sales page was there, and I started reading down, and believe it or not, I do suffer, and I even have trouble saying the word, but I'm dyslexic, and with me, it makes me a very good proofreader. So I was going down, and I started to see these little mistakes and that, and I thought, no, that must be me. So I ended up going right the way through the copy and that, and I was finding these mistakes. So I sent in a support ticket saying, I don't think this is very good, etc. And
a few spelling mistakes,
Yeah, so I didn't get a response. So anyhow, I thought, I don't know, I've taken the time to go through. I'd have thought I'd have had a reply. So anyhow, I found out Brett's Facebook. Well, it was John told me, actually. He said, use Facebook to find Brett. That's the quickest way of contacting. And I did, and I sent an email through. Now, my time, I think it was about 8:30 at night or something, and for Brett, it was about 2:30, 2:45 in the morning. And I don't know if you were asleep or what had happened, but he actually answered me within a few seconds, and he just sort of said, I'm sorry, mate, but this is the first I knew about it. And basically, that's how our story went on.
Yeah, that's right. We didn't know each other from a bar of soap, and I must say, look, I take feedback very personally in a good way, and go my way to do that. And just so you know, the copy. The copy that's uploaded to Copysniper wasn't the one that had some spelling mistakes. For the sales page, I went in there and added more. I said, do this, do that, and I was really rushed. See, when I say money's attracted to speed, we live this philosophy is that get it up there online as quick as you can. Now, you know about my story. I know I failed at all English, and I generally don't let anything go through my fingertips unless it's been edited, right? Because if my customers saw my raw stuff, they'd never come back to me. But it converts well because they fix up the grammar or spelling mistake that I just punch out. But money's attracted to speed. You don't have to be perfect. We got it up online and started making some sales. And then I realised that a lot of the chunks that I'd added in there hadn't been tweaked, and you spotted them like an eagle eye, which is great. Very appreciative of that. But just so the guys know, all the copy chunks that are inside the Sniper software, that has been edited, and it's all cool. But I will say, if you're going to add your own stuff in there, then it's good to have someone to run your eyes over it if you're like me and it's not your strong point. But it doesn't have to be perfect, because a copywriter that's, the sales letter that's 70% good is always going to be better than a sales letter that's in draft waiting to be perfected, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
so, absolutely.
And also, I think when you did contact our help desk, it was on the weekend, and I was can't remember what I was doing, but as soon as I saw it, I just responded straight away. Sometimes it's a good customer service thing. Even if I don't have the answer, I just want to say, hey, I got your message. I'm going to respond to this properly when I find out the answer, and just so people are heard, And so I do. I'm not encouraging everyone to listen to this to bombard me with Facebook messages, but look, if you've got a problem, they're always here to help. We're all human beings, and our intention is to make this the best software in the world. I've got a vision like Apple, just of elite excellence, and that's our vision for Copysniper. We've got a lot of cool things coming up, which I can't really talk about, where we're just going to make it unbelievable. So the best time to get in is right now, because it's only going to be more expensive. That's just business. Don't send me hate mail for that. That's just the way it is. But this is the cheapest you'll ever see it, and it's really proud of it. It's going to make a big difference in your life and in your pocket.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I've looked at a lot of sales rating software, and this is the most impressive I've ever seen. So
that's why I was impressed. Normally if somebody put a sales letter up there or a squeeze page or whatever, and I saw mistakes, I wouldn't have bothered. But because the software and what that could do with the demonstration, it just appealed to me, and I thought, this is really good, and that's why I took the time to do what I did, and now we've ended up as good friends. So
that's right.
Brilliant.
Yeah, appreciate that, mate. It's worked out really well.
And we appreciate you taking the time from your schedule to join us today, Brett. It was a great demo and some super information on top of it. So
And it didn't cost us 25,000.
No.
Yeah, no,
well, I don't think it did anyhow.
No, you're safe. It's all cool. It's all cool. No, you guys make it really easy for me, and I really appreciate the opportunity to tell the story and share Copysniper with all your guys. So it's been a pleasure.
Well, because you're shared and helped with us, I mean, say, people probably don't know, but you're actually new to Hangouts, and we did a very quick instructions before Brett got on, and he's just taken to it like water. So, Brett, if you ever want to use Hangouts and you want to have help setting up and what have you, just contact us because we're there to help you as well.
Oh, that's much greatly appreciated. I'll definitely take you up on that. This was my first real go at doing it, and just the hints you guys showed us at the start did make it super easy. So it's been awesome.
Great, and you did fantastic. Like Thad said, you took right to it. So.
Yeah, awesome.
Do you want to just chuck that link up again, John? And then
absolutely, I will do that. And I don't know, you guys have any final thoughts that you want to sneak in here before we go?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I just again appreciate having an opportunity to share some stuff. I hope a lot of the content I gave at the end was really valuable. You can start using that immediately in all your marketing and start increasing the conversions. But if you really want to make it happen faster, then that's what Copysniper's for. Copysniper's also been used for email content and video scripts, a lot of stuff. It's a really valuable tool that's going to put money back in your pocket really fast. That's all I'll say.
I think so too, definitely. So,
Cool.
no, if you want to stop on here, if there's no other questions, John, if there's nothing else you want to say,
I'm just going to check the questions to see if there's anything, and no, I don't see anything.
Well, all I can say is for me personally, I was absolutely blown away with the amount of information you just gave to us even before we got onto the software. You know, we learnt so much through that I know that we'll be able to just use that information, let alone the software. And I know that after we get off here, I think that we'll be dipping in our pocket and actually buying this because I'm impressed with it. I'm knocked over with the speed of it because, you know, how many products can you put up there in a day? And if they're not your own products, you can take affiliate products that especially haven't got a good sales page, make your own sales page, and direct it over. Oh, I shouldn't have said that, should I? Give away another tip.
No, that's absolutely true. Because a lot of times we run into that, right? We run into people's sales pages that just aren't where they should be.
Absolutely, yeah. There's oceans of opportunities and options for you with Copysniper, and again, it's only going to get better. I'm always uploading new copy into it, so there's going to be lots of new stuff to refresh and to use from across all areas of your marketing.
Fantastic.
Well,
all right.
On that note,
Cool,
I think that we'll see about finishing off. And as I say, if you just stop online until we finish, Brett, that'll be magic.
No worries.
And on behalf of everybody, I'd just like to say thank you very much for coming to the Hangout, and we absolutely enjoyed it.
Yep. Thanks, guys, for coming to watch.
Yep.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. See you later.